I think realizing that even if you do the so-called right things, that doesn't automatically mean that you're destined to get the result that you want or not.
In this week's episode, we've got Danny Etkin. Danny is a world champion martial artist from Larchmont, New York. He holds over 40 world titles in sport martial arts and represents Team Paul Mitchell. Danny, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Now let's dive right in. Now I know that you have 40 world champion titles. You represent Team Paul Mitchell. You're sponsored by Adrenaline. And you have your own nunchuck line with Century Martial Arts. Now, what hurdles did you encounter while getting to where you are today?
So many hurdles, too much to even count. You know, every single day there's a hurdle. But I think at the end of the day, what you got to do is just keep pushing forward. Things like at the beginning, I didn't have a dojo to train at. I'm just kind of figuring out places to train, you know, not really having too many training partners. And by not too many, like zero. Yeah, there's so many little things along the way. Tournaments that I didn't do good at and, you know, bouncing back from. So, yeah, a million things. But yeah, it's part of the process.
Now, were the solution to some of these hurdles obvious, or were they kind of hard to find?
Sometimes they were not so obvious, but I would say in general, a lot of the times they actually were pretty obvious. But I think that there's a difference between something being simple and something being easy.
Movie Expo is happening virtually in 2021, which means you get to attend right from the comfort of your living room, but only if you grab your tickets now. Use Spill15 and get 15% off your entry. Now, back to Spill It.
A lot of the times, those simple solutions are very hard to do and take a lot of time.
Oh, yes. And who are some people who inspired you along the way?
I'm of the belief that there's no such thing as somebody that's self-made, because along the way, there's so many people that helped you out. You know, without the people that have helped me and my teachers can be somebody who are, you know, real like senseis and coaches, but also just friends or, you know, just people that inspired me for any reason. Those are all teachers, and they're the ones that have really helped me and inspired me and given me the mindset that I have. And, you know, so everything is because of my teachers, whether direct or indirect. But a few to name are, one, my coach, Matt Emig. He really helped me get into Extreme from the very beginning. And going along back to the first question that you asked about like the different hurdles, the reason why they were so simple is because I had a coach that was already there and he led me on the right path. So I didn't have to do any guessing of what I had to do, but I had an expert that told me, this is what you have to do. And then I just, you know, I take shelter of that and I just trust them. And so definitely Matt Emig. And then, you know, I'm sure everybody says this, but I really do believe it. My parents have been a huge influence.
That's really nice for you to say. What advice would you give someone who's wanting to pursue a martial arts career similar to your own?
I would say number one thing, it's kind of a big decision to make, but it's the most important one, and it's get a coach. Because the coach is going to be the one that guides you through this whole process.
What are the best resources that helped you along the way?
My coach, a video camera, and a mirror. Those are the best resources for sure. And then actually I'll add a fourth one there. You know, the internet is a beautiful thing. We can look and study so many different people. YouTube is amazing. So many great martial artists, and you should study it like your classes at school. This is just another subject of your life. If you want to really get it. So, and then we also have even newer sources like Adrenaline is one that is such a great resource. Thousands of different videos, thousands of tutorials from the best athletes, the best sport martial arts and tricking athletes in the whole world, teaching you every single move. You know, that's another investment that is going to pay you back so many times tenfold with your skills. So I would have definitely been on that if that was a resource for me back then. And I watch it still now, you know.
Now, what's the best compliment you've ever received?
For me, the biggest compliments are things that have, changed people's life. I remember one very distinctively. This girl, she came up to me and Aiden at a tournament, said that, I asked you guys before if I should compete in this tournament, and like today I got this, this, and this, and the only reason why I'm here is because you told me that I should come to this tournament. And I was like, dang, that's just so amazing. Like, I'm so like grateful that I could have inspired somebody to come in and try to better themselves and put themselves out there.
What would you say is probably the biggest reason for people to give up?
There's a lot of reasons. One, they don't know their why. They haven't really determined why are they even doing this in the first place. Because if you haven't really come up with that, as soon as some different roadblocks come your way, it's going to be like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm just going to not do it. Not realizing that there are going to be roadblocks. And I think sometimes it takes a little bit more work than we think. A lot of people, instead of pivoting and deciding what they could do, they think, oh, well, that was my goal and I didn't achieve it, so I'm done. But, that's not really the goal. That was just one thing that happened. I think once you hit those first roadblocks, even after doing all of the so-called right things, I think realizing that even if you do the so-called right things, that doesn't automatically mean that you're destined to get the result that you want or not want. And you have to keep going from there. Having our goals like too external, because at a tournament, when you really think about it, who's in power of the results? You or the judges? It's the judges, right? So yes, we can do everything to try to get the judges to be in our favor. But at the end of the day, think about our goal. Like, how is it our goal to get somebody else to do something, right? That like kind of, there's something a little bit off on that.
When you put it like that.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to get somebody to flip a card the way that I want them to without telling them to do it, and we can influence them.
Yeah.
With our skills, and we should try to do that and try to be so good that we influence them to give us the scores that we want. But at the end of the day, I think if we could change our goals to actually becoming better in our own eyes rather than being so fixated on the externals, although you can have those as, certain like posts to say, okay, I got this, I'm getting third place. I used to get fifth place. That means that objectively in other people's eyes, I'm making improvements, and I can see that with myself, and that's awesome. But if we only have the goal of a result and we lack that goal of actually improving and seeing that personal growth, then you're set up for failure because you're going to get discouraged. We should be making more to be goals than to do goals. We should have a to be bucket list. Can I be the person that trains consistently, win or lose? Can I be the person that is actually focused on getting better with my own skills that I know? Be a real athlete, train like an athlete, and just be focused on your own growth rather than the results.
And you mentioned having the to be bucket, and that's actually something you can do during quarantine. Like, just make yourself a little to be bucket and just check off whatever you have in there.
Totally. I think everybody goes through that phase where they even question, is this what I really want to be doing? I think just realizing that even the best people have those times, it shows you the bigger picture of things, to keep going through.
Yeah.
Countless miseries and countless times of failure. I can't even go into one of them. There's just too many. That really sums it up. And that's really for anybody is at any type of high level.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure other people have felt like that just in their lifetime, or especially right now because of our situation. We can't go out and train with all of our friends.
100%. Yeah. This is a time that we can learn to just be grateful for what we do have. And I think it's putting things in perspective. Yeah, it's a good time to think about those things.
And you're totally right on that aspect. There's so many negative things, and I feel that's what a lot of people focus on. But it's important, especially right now, to focus on the positives and what we can do and what we get to do because of, the pandemic.
Of course.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being ready to spill it with us, Danny. This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to end here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head on over to our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, share, and get involved. Until next time, stay driven, stay awesome, and always be ready to spill it. Eccaia, out.